Hello everyone, I'm Colin Kinnett. This last week I've had a couple of queries from some viewers on some problems that they were having. We were able to solve them with some cordless drill accessories that they didn't know about. And I thought, you know what, I'll bet you there's lots of other people, there's so many accessories, I should do a video on that. And that's what we're doing today. But stay tuned, because I've got some unrelated little surprise at the end as well. The first accessory I want to talk about is something called a VIX bit, V-I-X. And if you've watched my channel, from time to time you've seen me using these, and I call them center finding bits, because when I call them VIX bits, people don't know what they are. They ask me about them, but when I call them center finding bits, people know exactly what they are. So John Hines is absolutely right. We should be calling these things by their right name. But the idea is these have a little collar, and when you push on the hinge, for example, the drill bit comes out and it makes a hole right perfectly in the center, so that when you're lining up hinges, you don't have a guessing game, and when you put the screws in, the plate doesn't move on you. You get them exactly where the hole should be, so you get things to line up. These collars are the same size, they just have different size drill bits in them, and it depends on the screws that you're using. So lots of different options, but center finding VIX bits. This little adapter right here could be the most used tool in my workshop. Right here you can see that I have a socket set, and it has metric and imperial on it, and I almost never want to use the ratchet. And to speed things up, I went out and bought one of these adapters because there's nothing in here, and this adapter allows me to plug this side into my drill and this side into almost every socket that I have here. And this little adapter I leave in the storage box for all my sockets, but it's so quick and easy. I can put it in my driver, and then I can pick any socket that I need, whatever it is that I'm doing, making jigs, screwing and unscrewing things, nuts and bolts. It's so quick and easy. That's just a super handy little adapter for using with all of your sockets. And speaking of another super handy little bit, some of you will already know what this is, but if you don't recognize it, this is called a dimpler. And it's typically used for sheetrock, gyprock, that sort of thing. And again, in my case, I use the extension because it locks it in. I can put it into my driver like that, and now I can drive sheetrock, and it also dimples it. And I don't happen to have sheetrock here, but I do have some plastic, and I just checked that it does almost the same thing. So have a look at this. So there's that dimpler, and I put an extension on here. Now this is an older one. Some of the newer ones, I understand, are magnetic now, so they'll actually clip on, but mine doesn't. And there are different versions of this. This is, as I said, an older version, but the way it works is if you're putting up sheetrock, you don't need to go out and buy a dedicated driver. You can use your drill or your driver, and you just put it in, and it drives it to a certain way, then it pops off, and when you're finished, I don't know if you can see in the light there, but it's actually dimpled that just a little bit, and the idea now is that you would come along with some drywall mud and come over top with that and let that dry and then sand that off, and that screw would then be invisible. But I'll show you a side cut so you can see how that screw has disappeared in there. Maybe you can see a little bit better how that actually dimpled in there. It's a great little tool if you're doing a little bit of do-it-yourself renovations. A little dimpling tool will sure make your gyprocking easier. There's another little tool I don't use very often, but when I need something to grind out some wood, elongate a hole, or grind some wood off somewhere, this little thing works great. Let me show you what it does. Now this thing is basically a circular rasp, so if you need to make a hole larger, or maybe you may need to recarve a sort of an arced area, it'll do a rough job, but it does a very quick job. And you can see that it's just carving that away just instantly. So if you need quick, rough work done, that's a great help. And here's a handy little tool that I've used for years and years. These little stones come in a variety of different shapes. This one's cone shaped. You can use them for wood, but I use them mostly for metal, enlarging holes that were maybe a little bit too small, taking a burr off something that I may have cut with a hacksaw or a grinder. Just a quick handy little thing that you can use in the workshop because we're always working with metal in one way or another. Here's another handy little item that I have. It's called a flex extender. And if you look at it, you'll notice that there is a collar that spins on the end, which makes it super handy. And I can put this side in my drill, or I can put in the adapter that I've just shown you and put it in my hex driver. And the other end will accept either a driver like that, or I could put a drill bit with a hex drive on it like that. So I could do that as well. But here's where it's really handy when I'm drilling holes or driving in screws in a tight little area. And watch this, because I can hold on to this collar, I can bend this up like this so I can get into a tight little corner, and I can spin that and hold that in that exact area. And because that collar spins down there, it's just a handy little item. Again, tough to find. If you look around, you can find these or versions similar to this, and just a handy little extension. And while we're still on extensions, these are very popular now. You'll be able to find these quite readily. This is a 100 or 105 degree extender, and again, it's for getting into tight corners that you normally wouldn't be able to get into with your drills. Well, that concludes my video for today. All sorts of different accessories that you can get for your cordless drill to make your time in the workshop a bit more productive. But before I go, if you refer back to a video I did not long ago on subscriber submitted hacks, I talked about Ernie had mentioned that he had found these little holders for pencils, and I couldn't find them, so Ernie sent me 2 packages of them. Thank you very much, Ernie. But this is what they look like. I have to show these. They have a peel-off back, so they're sticky, so you can put them on any of your machinery around your shop. I need to show you what the package looks like. That's what they look like. I think Ernie found these at, I think he said Walmart. So you might find them at other places as well, but a handy little tool. And thanks, Ernie, for sending these off to me. I can't wait to put these somewhere in my workshop. And like you, I'll know where my pencils are from now on too. I'm Colin Canad for Woodwork Web. Thanks for watching.